She's back. Anyway, so today I will be reading the first chapter of QUAN MILLZ. I'm gonna use my phone because even though it's gonna transfer to my Kindle, I'm gonna read any QUAN MILLZ book. I'm gonna just scroll and hopefully I touched something. I didn't. We're gonna try again. Okay. I'm scared. I feel like this one's not gonna be as funny. So I'm gonna show you guys what it is. Can you see? I know it's Pastors Eat Pussy too. It's Pastors Eat Pussy too. But I'm not reading that one. Let's try another one. No, The Coldest Thug Ever ain't gonna be funny. I feel like that's just urban reads. Cause me and my sister read one. That's not a QUAN MILLZ book. I'm not reading that. Okay, we'll read the first chapter of This Nigga Got a Small Dick. No. Let me just pick one. We can read. Let's read This Hoe Got Roaches. We can read This Hoe Got Roaches in her crib. How about that? I just seen something that I need to send my sister, and I'm pretty sure that I'm gonna put it in the video so y'all can see why I paused. Yeah. So we're reading This Hoe Got Roaches in Her Crib by QUAN MILLZ. International best-selling author QUAN MILLZ. I freaking love QUAN MILLZ. Alright, This Hoe Got Roaches in Her Crib by QUAN MILLZ. There's 25 chapters. No, I lied. It's 53. It's 53 chapters. Okay, preface. A note to readers. This is a work of satirical fiction that could be described as dark comedy combined with social commentary. In no way do the descriptions of the characters reflect my personal feelings or beliefs in regards to those of African descent, particularly black women. The stereotypes employed in this book are deliberate in that I attempt to cast a light on the state of contemporary urban pulp fiction. Respect. Enjoy. QUAN MILLZ. Chapter 1. All these fucking roaches and shit. God motherfucking damn it. Franquisha's murderous gaze was laser focused to 5 black brownish roaches, all ranging in sizes. Ugh. And the bitch ain't got time for this shit. Today, I'm hungry and the bitch need to get her pussy ate. This is crazy. This is the first 5 sentences. The agitated Section 8 Strag continued to nag. The biggest roach, Daddy Roach Sr., embarked on a dangerous journey to lead his family to a mecca of stale food. His wings lightly flapped He used his long, wise antennas to lead his loyal wife of 32 days. How long do roaches live? Their two well-trained teenage sons and their precious baby daughter towards the distant smell of decaying Domino's pepperoni and sausage pizza hiding away in a dark corner of Fred Quisha's messy apartment living room. Every third Friday of the month, when them food stamps hit her EBT card, Fred Quisha usually treated her 3 kids to greasy pizza, saucy buffalo wings, and center sticks. The pizza fiesta was sort of like a food stamp renewal day of celebration. Truth be told, though, the pizza was also a way to get them motherfucking kids temporarily off her flabby, tatted back. Fred Quisha hated to have to spend her weekends watching her badass kids, especially when she needed to get ate out and dicked down by some local Chirac savage. Only God knows why she was annoyed watching them. Ain't like the bitch had a job where her weekends were invaluable, deserving precious relief from a hard week of work. Every day was a fucking weekend for this hoe. Anyways. The particular crust Daddy Roach Sr. Scented had been nestled away for weeks. Shit, possibly months out of the purview of the vermin living in the grimy apartment. Had Fred Quisha's mama taught her the importance of admiring cleanliness as a virtue, the months-old crust would have been a non-issue. Perhaps then Fred Quisha would not be staring down the critter. The critter family peacefully pilgrimaging along the hallway's dusty white crackling baseboards. I need some wine or something. I feel like I should. I swear to God, these motherfucking kids keep my house nasty and shit. They getting on my last damn nerves. And I got shit to do today. They really gonna make me go off on their motherfucking asses. Fred Quisha gripped under her dry morning blunt-infused breath. Fred Quisha, better known as Moo Moo in the streets, positioned herself in a close proximity to the migrant roach family. A bitch was ready to go to war against the critter enemies invading her living room. Her eyes turned to homicidal slits. A butterfly of anxiety flapped its wing in her growling empty stomach. Excuse me. Fred Quisha knew roaches. Hold on, okay. Fred Quisha knew roaches were hard to motherfucking kill. If she was going to be victorious in offing this sneaky fucking nigga roach and his family, she needed to smite hard so she could crush their organs, killing them on instant impact. Fred Quisha raised her right foot, leaned down, then pulled off her Walmart black flip-flop, now armed and dangerous with the $2.99 plastic flip-flop in her hand. She slowly and carefully hovered her weapon of choice over Daddy Roach Sr. His long antennas wavered side to side, unaware of Fred Quisha's looming death plot. Raised in Chicago's notorious Cabrini Green housing project high-rises till the age of 20, Frequisha had no trace of fear for roaches in her body. No fear of white mice, no fear of daddy long-legged spiders, not even a trace of fear for Norwegian brown rats. Once a major problem in Chicago slums. Ducking and dodging the sound of rapid gunfire was the most valuable tool any young nigga growing up in Chicago's fucked up ultraviolet housing projects had to learn quickly. And then the next valuable housing project survival skill young niggas had to acquire was the killing of roaches. My Atlanta accent is not making this any better. Fear of stray bullets aside, any child regardless of socioeconomic status starts off with an innate fear of insects, bugs, and other creepy monstrous creatures. Nonetheless, young project niggas are taught to cultivate Japanese samurai warrior like fearlessness when it comes to living with roaches. While there's a 99.9999% chance these kids are going to be roommates with bugs until the day they leave they piss-smelling public housing residencies. Therefore, from a tender age, young Cabrini kids got initiated into a gang of hardened roach murders, learning how to gangbang those motherfuckers when they encroach their set, living room, bedroom, kitchen, etc. So with all that being said, you already know a ghetto bitch like Frequisha was a certified roach killing hit a concentrate bitch. You got it. Frequisha. Oh my god. Frequisha thought to herself, killing these fuck niggas. Kill these fuck niggas. Smack. Daddy Roach Sr. went on to be with the Lord. Daddy Roach Sr. went on to be with the Lord. The front of his obituary read, homegoing celebration for the late Daddy Roach Sr. Sunrise, May 2018, sunset, June 2018. Reverend Dr. Lucius Rocheson III, president. Mama Roach, shocked and grieved, tried to flee for cover. And her 3 kids trailed her. But this lethal Frequisha obviously wasn't going to let them get away. They had to motherfucking die too and be buried next to their daddy. Where the fuck y'all think y'all going, huh? Frequisha shrieked with retribution, colored in her vicious words. Smack, 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 smack. Gruesome genocidal sight. An entire family wiped out. But this was just the beginning of a growing problem. Daddy Roach Sr. had 1,861 brothers, nieces, nephews, uncles, aunts, and other relatives lurking in the cut, ready to get that pizza crust and other discarded trash scattered throughout the cluttered and disgusted apartment. There's 37 minutes left in this chapter. An unclouded Saturday morning, the first weekend in June, Chicago's South Side. There should be an N right there grammatically. I'm sorry. The neighborhood, the famous Inglewood, a 10-unit apartment building owned by Mr. Nathaniel Nate Garrison, a retired 67-year-old postal worker, stood on the corner of 63rd Street and Halsted Avenue. It's just, 12 12 years ago, after giving the United States Postal Service 30 hard, sweaty years of carry service, the Chi-Town Bronzeville native decided to dab into real estate, dabble into real estate, per the advice of his younger brother Lewis. The younger brother had owned some low-income rental properties throughout the predominantly black south and west sides of the city, and big bro Nate wanted to get a slice of the apparently rich and decadent rental property income pie. Hey, I'm trying to get like you, my boy. Nate was hesitant at first giving. He was the more fiscally conservative sibling and didn't want to fuck up his retirement coins. Nate divorced now for nearly 10 years, father of 4 kids and grandfather of 9. Good God Almighty. Eventually caved and gave rental property investigating the shot. Flash forward a decade and 2 years later, it turned out that buying an apartment building in the heart of the gradually depopulated Inglewood ghetto and filing it with Section 8 vouchers recipients, and filling it with Section 8 voucher recipients, good Jesus Christ, was guaranteed government subsidized gold. A guaranteed government subsidized gold mine. Good ass passive income for that diver. I don't like how I don't read on my phone. Good ass passive income that diversified his diverse retirement funds. Nate's $65,657 yearly pension, untapped 401k, $1,300 a monthly social security check, and rental property income have afforded him the opportunity to take his quarterly trips to the Dominican Republic. There he sipped on margaritas and dined on young chocolate prostitute pussy. He'd often procured from Punta Cana's white sandy beaches. His penchant for foreign coochie explained his lack of addressing the growing issues plaguing the apartment building that housed roughly 23 tenants. Nate was very hands-off when it came to his property management, oftentimes paying Glenn, his functional crackhead ex-brother-in-law, to do spotty, erratic building maintenance. The decade of ownership devolved Nate into a prototypical Chicago slumlord. This was the exact reason why this beautiful and sunny Saturday morning, Miss Frequisha Pierce, a tenant who had been in the building for some 3 years, was manifestly heated. And not by the sun, but by the side of the Roach family. She just massacred her with no remorse. This was a problem from time to time she tried to get Mr. Garrison to fix. She contacted him ever so often through email or phone call. Some days later, toothless crackhead Glenn, why he had to be toothless? Why? Would arrive, chit-chat, spray the house, lay out some traps, and then take off, not to be seen or heard from for months. Nonetheless, at the end of the day, the former Cabrini Green resident just grew immune to the infestation. Roaches were just roaches. A minor nuisance, really not a problem that she felt compelled to bitch and complain to the city of Chicago's housing authority. In a letter, a phone call. Crazy thing was, Chicago's housing authority had a dedicated hotline she could have easily dialed to address the pest issue. Even crazier, Frequisha was a Section 8 voucher holder, and these types of issues would get any landlord in trouble big motherfucking time. So much so, Nate's despondent slumlord ass could end up getting banned from Section 8 programming and could face serious fines. And not just fines from the federal government, but even the state of Illinois and the city of Chicago. However, the unemployed and welfare system abusing Frequisha did not want to rock the boat and snitch on Mr. Garrison. Why? She was constantly late paying her percentage of the rent that Section 8 didn't cover. And Mr. Garrison, nevertheless, unlike other landlords, he ain't give a fuck, so long as he was getting that steady check from the government. And it say government. G with the apostrophes, I'm gonna put it GUBMENT. Government. Rather than cleaning up the crushed roach corpses, slimed to the bottom of the wall and baseboard, the uneasy and rushed single mother of three firstly made her way back up to the kitchen in search of her half-smoked peach-flavored Philly blunt. Frequisha picked the blunt up off one of her dirty kitchen countertops and wedged it between her crusty, plump, purple lips. She whisked out a lighter from her left pocket and lit the blunt up. She took 3 long puffs, exhaled, and waited a few moments to let the weed calm her jittery nerves. The THC had took over her portly body. Why she had to be portly? Frequisha then opened the palm of her left hand and then hawked up the biggest ball of gooey, frothy spit into her palm. She put the lit end of the blunt into the viscous pool of saliva and then stuffed it in her pocket for later. Nasty bitch. Her breath. Ew. Her breath a bit tart, Frequisha now needed a refreshing taste of menthol in her mouth. Why she didn't just go brush her teeth instead? Well, she was gonna handle that later when she went to go take a shower. The veteran roach assassin rummaged through her drawer near the same filthy, crowded countertop and pulled out her top. She smoked a blunt and Newports. God! Pulled out her pack of already opened Newports. Fuck! She forgot. She forgot she was already on her last square. Then she quickly remembered she had a partly smoked cigarette resting in the ashtray with other butts, an almost overflowing mound of ash in the middle of the half-smoked square was cooling the fuck out like it was relaxing in a crowded carnival jacuzzi. Frequisha slowly, getting angry again, dashed into the semi-smoking living room, hastily located the ashtray sitting on the top of a brown coffee table. Once Miss Pierce, her name is Frequisha Pierce, spotted the cigarette she smoked last night, she leaned down, pulled it out the crowded ashtray, and then slapped it in between her cracking dark violet lips. That's why when you smoke, you need cocoa butter stick. She lit it up with a blue big lighter in her hand. She took as many quick puffs as she could to finish the cigarette. Once the cig was no longer smokable, she put it out in the ashtray. She blew out a steady stream of smoke from her nostrils like a medieval dragon with a trail of lingering Newport smoke following behind her. Frequisha marched through the dusty, smoky, and dimly lit hallway of her apartment. Her heavy feet thumped on the filthy beige carpet as another roach ran for his life out of Frequisha's sight. Lucky motherfucker. He better thank the roach lord. He better thank the roach lord. Oh God. Disregarding the chit chat and laugh she heard coming from her two sons' bedroom, Frequisha stormed her way towards the youngest child's room. She pulled out her cell phone from her back pocket and glanced down and saw 9:43 splattered across the partly cracked iPhone screen. The phone's neon pink cover, encrusted with sequins and glitter, evidently did not do shit to protect the screen from cracking some months ago. She had dropped it at Hooters out in suburban Lansing while she was on a date with some low-key dope boy. The agitated mother bit her lip. Frequisha shook her head out of frustration of feeling like time wasn't on her side anymore. Grumbling, she slipped the phone back into her back pocket. Waves of infuriation once again swept over her head. She was mad as fuck. She just wasted 4 minutes killing some roaches. Without even bothering to knock, she barged right into her daughter's room. Her daughter was sitting on the floor, Indian style, using a couple of off-brand broke crayons to doodle in some cheap dollar store coloring book. The young girl quickly looked up at her obviously angered guardian. The young daughter knew her mother was livid as her body language projected. Look, girl, I'm finna whoop your ass. Frequisha. We don't condone hitting children. Frequisha, with her eyes now widened in rage, gawked her young daughter straight into her unassuming juvenile brown doe eyes. Maya, what the fuck is you doing? The young girl, Maya, spelled M-Y-Y-A-H, was frozen and silent for a moment before she could carefully answer. Coloring because I'm done cleaning. Frequisha looked around with her that's not grammatically. Frequisha looked around with her scrunched yellow face up. Her yellow face up. Like, looked around with her, scrunched her yellow face up. That sentence ain't sentencing. It's not. Her vicious eyes widened with more irritation as she saw a pair of pink socks on the floor. You ain't done yet. Your room still look a mess. Frequisha roared and then continued to shout. Listen, you better hurry up and clean my shit up, lil'. In 2 seconds, I'm finna smack the fuck out your ugly ass. Frequisha then screamed out a list of things she thought Maya still needed to tidy up before she was scheduled to go over her grandmother's house for the rest of the weekend. Okay, Maya responded once Frequisha gave her another 4 chores she needed to complete. Frequisha then growled at 6-year-old Maya. Damn, you know you just like your stupid ass, hard-headed ass daddy. That's why he locked the fuck up now. As the mother kept screaming threats of violence towards her now terrified daughter, Maya jumped up from the floor and jump-started her cleaning. Poor Maya trembling at the sound of her mother's hostile tone, nimbly tried to do her best to finish tidying up her room. The smallest the smallest in the entire apartment. It was actually not a bedroom, rather a large utility closet that Frequisha converted into a bedroom. Here was the kicker. Maya's room was actually the cleanest in the entire 3-bedroom apartment. She turned this baby room was a utility closet. Bless her heart. Oh my God. Aside from her mother, Maya also lived with her 2 older half-brothers. Frequisha stood by Maya's bedroom door. Okay, let me read that over. Frequisha stood by Maya's bedroom door, now holding her arms by her crusty blackened elbows. She rapidly tapped her foot against the beige carpet floor, obviously in much need of a vacuum. Hell, truth be told, it needed to be professionally cleaned. Regardless of the trillions of THC molecules running a marathon with Frequisha's blood vessels, Frequisha's anger was getting gradually explosive, especially with Maya. Once again spelled M-Y-Y. M-Y-Y-A-H. Frequisha had places to go, people to see, and ultimately some dicks to suck later tonight if her plans went smoothly. Frequisha, 34, once a vixen back in her day, was now a tired-ass looking hoe who stood about 5'5", weighed a solid 213 pounds. She thought she was around 175. All that 300 pounds, I weighed 175. Oh my God. That's why he put that in there. Because he knew every black person would make that joke. Every black person gonna make that joke. Every man. But she hadn't been to her general family physician, Dr. Patrice, in a while. Her doctor was down the block at the Free Women's Health Clinic. But Frequisha only made a visit when she had a bad yeast infection, STI, or when she'd get a long-lasting turbulence case of bacterial vaginosis. Once known for her small waist, Frequisha was now in possession of a plump, undefined midriff, remnants of what was once a thick ass now resembled 2 steroid-injected brown potatoes lumped together. A set of double D-cup drooping titties hung from her chest with no bra on. It was visible from the shirt cover her chest that she had both nipples pierced. All right, we need to know that. The biggest black satin bonnet cap crowned Frequisha's head this morning, matching the slightly torn up black-white wife beater wrapped around her chest and her torso. A big Celtic cross tattoo was etched into her unshaven right arm, and a spread of angel wings was tatted across her upper chest. Some faded blue denim Bermuda shorts she bought some years ago from the Rainbow store not too far away tightly snuggled her cellulite-ridden legs. Under the sour-smelling bonnet were several cornrows braided into the ratchet mother's skull. Yesterday, Maya's disability check, Frequisha had the girl diagnosed with ADHD to get them some Social Security federal government coins. Oh my God! Oh my God! Oh my God! Came in the mail and rather used their funds toward good use like tutoring or after school care. A bitch was about to get her hair, nails, and feet done. Tonight was the night Fred Quisha swore up and down she was gonna snag her baller at Dash, some upscale black nightclub in the South downtown. Paulette, Fred Quisha's hairdresser, really just her bestie who knew how to do hair, had this bomb ass ultra long middle part lace front that she was gonna glue onto a bitch head and have her ass looking like she was straight from Bangladesh or some shit. With Tom slipping away and the feeling of anxiety giving her a slight migraine, Fred Quisha temporarily turned her attention away from Maya and then shot her head down into the room across the hall. Hey! Queen Mani is Amir. Oh my god. I don't even think I'm saying that right. I think it's Quimani. Kimani? Kimani? It might be Key. Q-U-I. Kimani. Y'all need to hurry the fuck up and be ready in 5 minutes. Your grandmama gonna be there soon. And so will... Gonna be here soon. And so will Maya's. M-Y-Y-A-H apostrophe S. Oh, Lord. I got shit to do, and you badass kids is already fucking with my motherfucking weekend plans. Hurry the fuck up now. Okay, mama. The two boys barked down from the other side of the bedroom door. Not saying a word, the slender brown-skinned daughter continued to scuttle her room, trying to figure out what else she could do to make the room look tidier. Still feeling her mother's vicious presence burning in the back of her head, Maya quickly scanned the room with innocent eyes, looking to see if she did a good job. She felt she was done and did her best and followed her mother's irrational instructions. Since her father, Austin, was locked up and served a 2-year sentence in Cook County Jail for probation violation, Maya lived in the oppressive terror of her mother. Maya living with Fred Quisha went completely against Austin's wishes. Before getting locked up, he tried hard to convince the judge to hand over custody of Maya to his mother, Miss Watkins. Austin thought Fred Quisha was recklessly filthy, irresponsible, and unfit to be a parent. Was he lying though? Was he lying though? That's in the book. So the book is read in the third person. We got 20 minutes left. The book was read in the third person. This is just, oh my God. Oh my God. And that's in the book. HRRRL. A parent. Nevertheless, of course, this was his perception. This was his perception, and the courts have a different perception. So, unfortunately for Austin, his quest to get his mother awarded custody of Maya fell on deaf ears, which is sad. That happens a lot to a lot of kids, and I feel really bad for them, especially because I'm a teacher. Like most of these nonchalant, non-caring family courts that seem to always side with the mother, even without knowing the faithful due diligence. Like I just said, it happens to a lot of kids. That really sucks that they put that in. Well, it's pretty educational, actually. Like, sometimes the person that's fit to be with the child is the father. Sometimes. It can always be a 50-50. It's a flip of the coin. Judge Kathleen Steinberg, right there, right before Austin was sentenced and threw up the gauntlet at him. The judge refused to hand over custody to Austin's mother. Her reasoning was the courts couldn't trust the family of a man who was a reputed gang member and gun trafficker. Now I understand. Also, there were no official reports of abuse filed with defects. That made Fred Quisha out to be an incapable parent. If anything, the judge ended up siding with the struggling single mother. The judge did not stop there, though. Not only did she deny Austin's motion to hand off full custody to his mother, but she also that's testing my reading skills. I learned a new word. I need to sound it out. Or look at the rescinded. I learned something new because I don't use that word. To revoke, cancel, or repeal. Rescinded. I'm gonna remember that because I didn't know what that meant. Rescinded. His shared custody agreement. That was foul. Oh, that's foul. With Fred Quisha, custody agreement with Fred Quisha, and gave the abusive mother full custody, virtually eliminating his legal visitation rights. Courts wouldn't even consider court supervised visitation, making Austin out to be a ruthless criminal. The judge even considered a protective order against the father, and it was enforced until the day he went to jail, and would remain in effect until he got out and went back to court for another hearing. Truth be told, Austin, while he was sincere and had a good heart to do right by his daughter, fucked up and didn't do his research. See, that day in court, Fred Quisha was the one who ended up truly playing her cards right. She and Jocelyn, her Section 8 caseworker, vouched for her and her motherly qualities, in parentheses. She had good references from the daycare she used to work at in Pullman. Austin wanted the judge to consider possible testimony from Maya herself. However, the judge refused, said she couldn't truly honor testimony coming from a 5.5-year-old for two reasons. Maya was diagnosed with ADHD. So Judge Steinberg said that any negative testimony coming from a mentally challenged, people with ADHD are not mentally challenged. I have ADHD. I'm not mentally challenged. I have ADHD and dyslexia. I am not mentally challenged. That is false. They need to stop saying that. We're not mentally challenged. We not mentally challenged. We a little spazzy, but we not. And I have dyslexia. So I read books on books. I got stacks and stacks of books all over the fucking place and a Kindle full of books. I can read. Stop making people with learning disabilities seem as if they're stupid. They're not. Intellectual disabilities. I wish somebody would have told me that when I was, growing up, because all my teachers had no faith in me whatsoever. But now I'm a teacher, so. Did I want to be a teacher? Absolutely. I would love to be a singer, though. Off topic. Anyway. Okay, so from a mentally challenged child, could not be trusted. And two, Maya, well, she was 5.5 at the time, and age plays a huge role in the credibility of a testimony. Absolutely devastating. But this wasn't a fringe case, unfamiliar to a lot of men. That's a shame. This was an everyday occurrence in so many family courts in America. That's some Quan MILLZ. Quan MILLZ. Come on, Quan MILLZ. No one would assume that a woman who wanted full custody of her child obviously had an unshakable, unbreakable bond with her growing daughter. But this is simply and obviously wasn't the case at all. Between Frequisha and Maya, Frequisha simply wanted to get her claws on the child for the sake of extracting government benefits and a yearly tax write-off. Nothing else. Now, Frequisha did do the bare minimum to provide for her daughter's basic necessities. However, she obviously showed more love and support toward her two oldest sons, Kimani and Zamir. Kimani's 12 and Zamir's 10. Always had the freshest and latest shit. Jordan's PlayStation, cell phones, you name it, those two young bad nigga boys had it. Maya, on the other hand, well, her mother would barely buy her anything. All her toys came from the dollar store. Bitch wouldn't even buy her own daughter toys from at least Walmart, Five Below. While her boys stayed with the freshest linens copped from the malls out the burbs or department stores on Michigan Avenue, Maya had hand-me-downs, donated clothes, or clothes bought from the Salvation Army. And that was if Frequisha feel like spending some extra money on the little girl. That happens a lot in minority households where male sons get treated better than daughters from somebody who's experienced it and is still experiencing it to this day as a 25-year-old to how old is my brother? I'm 25. I'll be 25 in August. He'll be 15 in August. So I'm 24. He's 14. As for example, if I was to go sing somewhere or do a show, my mother wouldn't come. But she's a part of the booster club for his baseball, football kind of stuff. She at every game. But my mom will not show up when it comes time for me to get up and sing in front of someone, unless I'm singing in a church. She will not come and see me at all. So I understand that part of the book too, because that's foul. So where did all this antipathy, I don't want to say it wrong. I think I said it. So where did all this antipathy come for her 6-year-old daughter come from? Before getting locked up, Austin and Frequisha were an off and on turbulent relationship. Although he truly had long-term plans to wife her, he still paraded her around as his mate. However, as their tumultuous relationship unraveled, Austin ended up leaving Frequisha and this set off cascade event. Leaving Frequisha and this set it's supposed to be of, but it says off a cascade of events. And this set off a cascade of events, ultimately leading to their being a deep and dangerous rift between Frequisha and Austin. Give me a second. Jesus Christ. allergy medicine time. I started my period today. I've been craving all kind of shit. And one is Dirty Dr. Pepper. I was wondering why I really wasn't hungry yesterday. Yum, allergy medicine. Great. Sniffles. Great. And we're back. The allergy attack was kind of... Alright. Frequisha began a bitter and spiteful ratchet bitch. Made no qualms either to take her disdain for Austin out on his progeny. Twisted as it may seem, Maya was Frequisha's punching bag in every sense of the word while Austin was locked up. Frequent ass whoopings, starvation, grounding, emotional abuse, verbal abuse, you name it, Frequisha specialized in it and made it known to Maya. Every day she wasn't well liked. It was sickening that woman could birth such an innocent child to the world, and rather than take their frustration out on the father, she turned her frustration into her very own innocent and precious daughter who simply just wanted to enjoy her semblance of a childhood. Tears, ... That's what it says in the book. Ah! Because that's what I sounded like yesterday when I saw that bug outside. Maya screamed. Her eyes spotted the biggest brown roach crawling on one of the walls of her bedroom. Maya instantly dashed towards the corner and had an expression of trepidation buried onto the small features of her brown face. What you screaming for, ho? Frequisha rasped. See, my accent be coming out when I say stuff. Oh my god. My forehead is huge. Anyway. Frequisha rasped with a screwed up face. It's a roach, mommy! As Frequisha pulled up a half-smoked blunt out of her pocket and lit it up in front of the child as she huffed. Bitch, a roach? Rolling her eyes and shaking her head, but Frequisha, hearing the daughter call mommy, suddenly got very inflamed. And what I told you about calling me mommy? Call me Frequisha, got it? Maya jumped again. Yes, ma'am. The panicked girl froze for a moment, still looking at her mother with a fearful but not fear rooted in respect, fear rooted in a pending ass beating. There's a roach on the wall, Frequisha. Maya slowly answered, pointing at the roach. The sound of dread defined her response. Frequisha rolled her eyes again and she blew out a steady, heavy stream of smoke from her nostrils and huffed. Ugh, really, little bitch? That's just a damn roach. Fuck you scared for, pussy hole. Go get your shoe and kill it now. But I'm scared, Frequisha. Don't make me ask you again or else, Frequisha interrupted, instantly cutting off Maya's plea. Frequisha ambled deeper into the room and towered over her visibly shaken daughter. Now, I said go get your shoe. Go get your CHO, your shoe. Go get your shoe and kill it now. Silent and quivering, a tear ran out of Maya's eye as she looked up at her so-called mother and slapped without hesitation. Frequisha right hand went across Maya's face. I said, kill it. In fact, go kill it with your hand. Fuck the shoe. She ain't right. Not wanting to jumpstart a Saturday session of physical brutality, Maya listened to her mother's stern instruction as she fought back tears. She carefully paced herself to the wall where the roach was located in Chicago. Roaches often looked like Rice Krispies with tiny legs. However, last year, after coming back from a quick getaway in Florida, Frequisha somehow managed to bring some down south roach eggs in her luggage bag back with her. When she and a few of her besties went down to Miami for spring break, they stayed in an Airbnb. That was where Frequisha believed the infestation started. She fucked up and left partly open packages of Little Debbie Nutty Bars in her suitcase, and more than likely some 305 Mama Roaches smelled the sweet chocolate peanut butter crisp buffet from a mile away. At least that was the story Frequisha told herself to justify where the big ass non-local roaches originated. Who knows if that was the truth, but Frequisha refused to do anything serious about the growing roach problem in her apartment. Other than to call up Glenn and spray. Maya now, only a foot away from the roach, climbed onto her bed cautiously and moved her head closer to the wall. Girl, if you don't kill that motherfucking roach, I'm finna kill your motherfucking ass. Frequisha warned with widened, intimidating eyes. Maya had listened too because she knew her mother's word was bond when it came to ass beatings. If the young petrified girl raised her hand and hovered about an inch away from the roach. Maya, if you don't stop fucking around and kill that roach, bitch, I swear I'm gonna go across your nappy head. Maya's hand trembled. She couldn't do it. The roach was literally the size of her palm and had the thickest wings. Wings were so long and thick that the motherfucking roach was offering first class tickets to fly critters to Dubai and shit. The roach's long antennas moved from side to side, almost as if you could detect looming death. You better run. Forest, run, forest, run. Frequisha once again quickly spat in her hand and put the blood out. She looked around the room and saw a Vibe magazine on top of the girl's dresser. Maya obviously didn't read Vibe. Frequisha forgot and left it there one night, and she cussed the little girl out for not cleaning up the bathroom right. Frequisha quickly rolled the magazine up into a makeshift pipe and lunged toward the girl, and then she raised the Vibe magazine pipe in her hand and lunged toward the girl. She then raised the Vibe magazine pipe in her hand and pulled it back in the air, ready to go across Maya's skull. Kill it, goddammit! Smack! Maya's hand crushed the bug in her hands. The roach's exterior crunched in her small palm. Gooey whitish yellow roach gut slime splashed all over. Maya would have vomited, but she had nothing in her stomach to throw up. No food was in the house other than an old loaf of bread, an expired package of off-brand Walmart deli ham, and watery yellow mustard. Frequisha leaned in and grabbed Maya off bed. Now go wipe your goddamn hands, get some paper towel, and clean that mess up. I'm giving your ass a minute. Frequisha then wiped the magazine across the girl's back and bottom, wasting my damn time. Fred Quisha continued to grumble as she made her way out of the bedroom. Buzz, 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 the vibration of her phone. Fred Quisha's phone nestled in her back pocket. She threw the magazine onto her dresser, picked up the blunt up, and put it in her mouth, and then whipped out her phone. She saw a text from Mama. I'm downstairs. Fred Quisha's mother, Evelyn, texted the ratchet matriarch, agreed to babysit her grandchildren this weekend. Miss Watkins, Austin's mother, was minutes away from picking up Maya to babysit her as well, but hadn't texted Fred Quisha yet. Kimani, Zamir, hurry up. Your granny is here. Get your shit and leave. Fred Quisha barked in the front of the boys' bedroom. Suddenly, the door opened and the two of the boys decked out in some fly gear from Nike store. Hugged their mother and flashed down the hallway out the front door. Fred Quisha smiled, feeling overcome with joy as she watched her two boys exit the house. She wasn't joyful. She was going to have some time to herself. She felt a sense of rapture and pride that her boys were growing fast, becoming young men she'd always envisioned. Really street niggas, dope boys, just like they daddies. Maya, after washing her hands, made her way back to the bedroom and began to clean up the roach murder scene on the wall with some water-drenched paper towel. Fred Quisha's disposition quickly went back to insane as she looked at her daughter up and down as if she was some unknown wayward stranger. If you make any mention to your grandmama of what happened today, remember, you won't get it when you get home. You understand me, little girl? Yes, ma'am, Maya carefully replied as she wiped the wall. When you get done, bring your motherfucking ass and your clothes bag to the living room and sit there and wait for your grandmammy to come here. Do not mess with my television either. I'm finna go take a shower. Do not come in my room for nothing. Don't run your tiny hands through my fridge either. Let your granny feed your ass. She should be here in 15 more minutes. You understand me? Yes, ma'am, Maya responded. Good. Fred Quisha spun on her flip-flops and strolled her way towards her bedroom. The sound of flip-flops popping filled the hallway. It's me, international bestseller QUAN MILLZ. I'm sorry. So that was the first chapter of This Hoe Got Roaches. Okay, This Hoe Got Roaches on the crib. I love urban fiction when it's like that. When it's supposed to be comical, kind of like satirical, kind of like the Boondocks. So I mean, I liked it. I think my sister is gonna come and read the next chapter for you guys so I can cackle in. Or she might read another one. We might read a different one. We never know. But that shit is hilarious. Do I feel bad for the children? Yes. Anything that has to do with kids is no bueno. Like, we don't abuse children. We don't show favoritism to children. Like, they build adults. So what's happening with the kid? Sad. But like, all that other stuff, hilarious. The roaches had obituaries. Hilarious. Hilarious. Alright. See you guys next week.